of Ceremonies today. Master of Ceremonies today is Mr. Vidyabhushan Kumar, who has over 34 years of public service in forestry, climate change, the water sector, tourism, preventive vigilance at various positions in the state, central government, and with large public sector undertakings. He is the former Principal Chief Conservator of Forests for Punjab and has also worked on projects with international organizations that include the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, Japan Bank for International Cooperation, and the United Nations World Tourism Organization. So, Mr. Kumar, you have a huge bio, a huge CV, but I'm going to stop here in the interest of hearing all the many panelists that we have today. Let me wish everyone a very happy Earth Day and say that without everyone's help, Earth is not going to be rid of plastics. So we need each one of you, every act of green and more. Thank you very much. Mr. Kumar, over to you.
Thank you very much, Karunaji, and greetings to all of the speakers and the audience, those who have joined on this auspicious occasion, that is the Earth Day. So we are here for a specific purpose. We are here to share our experience. We all know the great challenge that plastic is posing to the humankind, the planet, and now it has reached to the wildlife area. Wildlife area, as we know all, that they are the life-sustaining entity, where it is a storehouse of the biodiversity, soil enrichment, water, and air. So all our lives depend on this, how much we take care of this protected area, which is called, which are basically in the form of national park, wildlife sanctuary, or conservation or community reserve, biosphere reserve, tiger reserve. So those are the different kinds of the protected area. Now the time has come when the planet, United Nations has taken a place to fight against this plastic pollution. And our Earth had choked from this plastic pollution. Now, the time has also come that we realize that nature cannot digest so much of plastic. So we have to come to the occasion, understand the gravity of the situation, and propose some action plan, not individual, but in a collaborative manner so that there is an impact on the field. We have gathered here to share our experience, to suggest each other, and to see the problem in a very holistic perspective. जैसे वो होता है ना, एक blind man seeing the elephant. So everybody is seeing a part of the problem. We are here to see the problem in a totality. And the second step is to have a collaborative solution. And third, the most important, to initiate some action on the ground. Because only knowing is not enough. Having a network is not enough unless and until we do together on the field and measure our action, whether our action is commensurating with the problem in hand. That is very important. So we are here not only for the webinar, we are here for some initiating some action on the field. So with this background, we are very fortunate to have experts from the different field. So at the end of the talk, then we will have a holistic perspective, and that will be the first round. Second round will be a discussion among the speaker. And the third round will be the audience interaction, because audience are those who have registered. They are also part of our solution maker. So there will be 3 rounds. So I will be managing the time. Mr. Bittu Sehgal has suggested to keep a stopwatch, so I have kept one.
Good idea.
Time, which is about 5 to 6 minutes. So just before 1 minute, I will give an alarm to the speaker so that he should conclude. I'm very, very actually sorry to say that it is really time constraint discussion, but there is no other way to bring so much expertise on the field with given time of 1 hour or so. So within that limitation, and I promise that this is just the starting. So if we feel that there is much more deliberation on a specific topic, so we will not hesitate to organize another webinar on a specific topic also. So with these words, I will just say a few words about the problem statement. Seeing the problem, the ministry has initiated a guideline in 2019, Ministry of Environment and Forest, banning the single-use plastic and other kind of plastic in the protected area. It was in 2019. And after that, a lot of policy initiative has taken place in form of Environment Protection Act. This Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016 was modified in 22, then in 23, the concept of extended producer responsibility, EPR, has come, and a lot of responsibility and accountability has given to the plastic producers. So it is based on the polluter pay principle. And concept of plastic credit has also come, that is market-based economy mechanism. And if you see the forest area, so just I will flag just main outline so that every discussion is forming part of that framework. So if you see the forest area, then the first agent of pollution is forest department itself. Through its activities, whether it is a nursery dredging and other activity, they are the source of plastic polluter in the forest area. So that is agent number one. Agent number two is the villagers who are residing inside and adjoining the forest area or protected area. So they are the agent number two. Agent number three is the general tourists who are visiting the forest for different purposes, mainly for the religious purpose. And agent number four is our eco-tourists who purposely and responsibly to some extent visit the forest area. So our strategy of this control of plastic pollution should be according to the type of agents those are. So with this background, now I'm going to invite the first speaker, which is Mr. Bibhas Ranjan. So he was additional DG Wildlife in the Ministry of Environment and Forest at the apex body. So we are here to, I will request him to just share his experience in terms of policy initiative that the ministry has taken and any good practices, especially in the plastic control, in the core area, eco-sensitive area, etc. So Mr. Bibhas Ranjan, you are here. So your time is 5 to 6 minutes. Mr. Bibhas.
Mr. Kumar, request please that Bittu Saigal has the launch of his book.
I know that. After this, yeah. Mr. Saigal is there.
So he will leave at 10 to 12. He will leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Bibhas. Mr. Bibhas Ranjan. Okay. So
am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Very audible now.
Okay, thank you. Let me extend hearty thanks to the organizers, especially Dr. Vidya Bhushan ji, who made this day more memorable. Even during my tenure as ADG, I didn't have the opportunity to interact like this. So let me extend my hearty thanks to whole of the organization. And we have almost crossed more than 50 years, 5 decades in celebrating the Earth Day. What are the new agendas which has come to us? From man to animal, we are in the right directions. So my basic issue would be that what are the policies which made the pH more safer? Like, from where the plastic are coming? In our country, almost 1,000 pH are notified in terms of sanctuaries, national park, tiger reserves, conservation reserves, community reserves. Now a new concept has come, OECMs. So these are the area out of 1,000, almost 900 areas, sites are popular or tourism friendly. So tourism has brought the plastic inside the PAs. To manage the tourism, to manage their effects, impacts in the PAs, Ministry had issued in the past guidelines to effectively control and sustainably manage the tourist inside the PAs to have a less impact to the wildlife, but also have a positive impact in the sustainable management and development of the wildlife areas. So keeping in view of this, the flow of the plastic or waste in the PAs, or including, I will talk about the zoos also, where the footfall is almost 8 to 10 crores annually, where that directly impacts on the wildlife. Ministry had taken a stand. All the tiger reserves are the plastic-free areas. It has been long been notified in the PAs. The second category comes sanctuaries. In the 70th meeting of the Standing Committee of National Board of Wildlife, the ministry had taken a call that the entire PA area will be free from the single use of plastics. But still, there is a problem. Why and how? Problem is not the management. Problem is the structures which has been situated inside the PH, like temples, mazar, sacred groves. These are the areas where the flow of the populations is very, very regular, and the collections and the wastage of the plastic are very, very more. So to manage these areas from the plastics, it is really a challenge. Though it has been tried to have a policy or guidelines or advisory in place with the states, and the states are doing a wonderful job, no doubt about it. But there are some gray areas. So number one, we have the policy in place in whole of the PH, including the zoos also. Number two, the ministry had amended the Wildlife Protection Act in 2023, wherein the management plan of the PH have made the statutorily mandatory. So under the provision of the Section 33 of the Wildlife Protection Act, now each and every PH must have a management plan. And management plan, a template was circulated across the states where these things have been kept in mind. And the area of the eco-sensitive zone, which is outside the forest PA area, a debate had happened on that area also, that how this eco-sensitive zone will be managed, whether the eco-sensitive zone area can be a plastic-free zone. We have gone to beyond that area. Beyond eco-sensitive zone, there is a zone of influence, ZOI. So if the zonal master plan of the eco-sensitive zone is opposing the management plan of the sanctuaries, there should be a mechanism to address the planning procedures, management prescriptions, so that the management areas of the PA should be streamlined. As we know, there is also a provision of a vulnerability mapping under the disaster risk management in the management plan templates. So the mapping of the vulnerability in terms of the plastic pollution has also begun. In addition, the MEE exercise of all the PA areas is being done on an annual basis, on a biannual basis. So if anything comes in between the process of management, as a management contravening prescriptions, that has been taken care to address the challenges. Management plan also talks about the retrofitting measures to be incorporated. So the management of ESZ, eco-sensitive zone areas, as well as the protected areas, are taken care of in the prescriptions of the management. Now, it comes again, how this PW empire, yes.
1 minute more. 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. So my again request is that how the EPR helps in managing the protected area. It is the duty of the importer or manufacturers or producers who has to take the call to manage the waste generated from the peoples, from the producers, how these waste can be recycled. Now the CPCB has opened the EPR portal. All the EPR certifiers or the manufacturers are being registered and their processing is being done through the certifiers. So this is an important mechanism. Recently, SPCB, the State Pollution Control Board, have been authorized to register the processing or recyclers. And almost all the districts in the country had their recyclers in place. If any protected areas has a plastic waste in place, that can be recycled. The best example is Amarabad Tiger Reserves, where there is a temple inside the forest, inside the PH. Every day, the generation of plastic waste is maximum, but every plastic is being picked up by the EDC members, collected at a common place, and it is being compressed and sold it to the market. But now all the PH managers can do the same because every district in the country has a registered EPR personnels who can reuse or recycle the plastic waste. So gray area is how to evaluate the carrying capacity of the crowds or the tourists inside the PH, through which we can reduce the plastic waste. This is the area, though we have the mechanism to establish the carrying capacity, but there are places. This area is a thrust area where we believe that this much deliberations is required, and this issue can be addressed with the PA managers. So thank you from my side.
Thank you, Vivas. Just be online because in the second round we will be discussing the solution in great detail. Thank you, Vivas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I request Mr. Bittu Sagal to just share his experience. Yes, sir. Bittu Sagal.
So, our experiences are, how shall I say, each one of us. I have worked very closely with Nitin Kakodkar, and I've seen how he's put blood, sweat, and tears to protect protected areas as well as the buffers. There are a few things we should understand about plastics to start with. None of us should ever use the word recycled when we use plastics. When we talk of plastics, it cannot be recycled. It can only be downcycled. After you have melted it and then used it, turned a bottle into a cup and a cup into a plate and a plate into a spoon. After that, you can't injection mold it. You can do nothing to it. It lands up in our oceans or it lands up in our landfills. There is another thing to do with plastics that we must understand. And with that understanding, some of our solutions that we have in mind might come into play. When you take plastics, there are different kinds of plastics, and it's not only the plastic itself, it is the plasticizer, it is the coloring agent. These are the things that cause many things, primarily endocrine disruption. It causes cancer. And technology seems to be giving us wonderful solutions. Create incinerators and we turn plastics into energy. But the process of incinerating one particular plastic, polyvinyl chloride, PVC, it releases dioxins and furans. You should look up dioxin and furan on Google and you'll find out. The dioxin is not even a product, it's only a byproduct, and the global production is not more than 10 to 12 kilograms. That's how tiny it is. But dioxins, when polyvinyl chloride, that is chlorinated compounds, when they are brought in, whether they are used for hoardings or whether they're used for plates or whether they're used in the cars, what happens at that point is that they enter your endocrine system. And in Europe, they found a solution. They said, we'll incinerate it. the connections were initially not very clear, but we discovered 50% sperm counts had fallen. They discovered that incinerators are going to cause a problem. They began to export those incinerators to India, and it took us about 6 years to explain. I'm talking about 20 years ago, that incineration is not a problem, not a solution, because when you incinerate, what you're actually doing is you're taking the dangerous compounds and you're putting them right back into your lungs. And from the lungs, it goes to the bloodstream. From the bloodstream, it goes to the endocrine system, which is your immune system. Having said that about plastics, let's specifically talk in terms of the buffer areas of our protected areas. When we talk of, let's take a place like Tadoba, thanks to Nitin Kakodkar and officers like that, we did one simple thing. We made sure that the communities living outside the core areas became the primary beneficiaries. And a whole program was run to explain to them that, look, if a deer eats, let's say, polythene with some food inside it, it can get intestinal blockage and it can die. All those things are very well known to us right now. I don't have any magic wand to say this is how you solve the problem. I know that I was part of the team that created a very significant amount of the legislation, including the EPA, including the eco-sensitive zonation, including so many of these, the coastal regulation zones. Our problem, as everybody on this webinar knows, is not how we create the laws, because India has, even now, despite the dilution, some of the best environmental laws in the world. But where is our implementation? If you take Nitin Kakodkar, I keep on using his name because I worked so closely with this wonderful man, you know. He can do what he can do within his area, but he cannot control the fact that right on the outside of his area, the collector will give permission for 14 more lodges to come up. They will have neither pollution control nor will they have any crowd control. So I think that as forest officers, as people who understand one simple elementary truth, all economics is a direct subsidiary of the biosphere. Economics is a direct subsidiary of the biosphere. If we have the biosphere being damaged, and dahi jamane ke liye jamun chahiye, to abhi hamare national parks and sanctuaries are nothing other than jamun. Jamun ki lassi banayenge to kya hoga? This needs to be explained to our decision makers, not only in India. It needs to be explained to Mr. Biden, to Mr. Trump, to everybody, that at the end of the day, nature will only give you warnings. It will not give you judgments. It will give you warnings and then consequences. Wonderful. It will give you only judgments and then consequences. And it is not difficult. I have over here a metal bottle, okay? This metal bottle should actually be there on the outside of every single entry to every single park and sanctuary, so that if somebody brings this bottle here to the park, that person should be told, I'm sorry, you cannot bring that in, but you can hire this for 35 or 40 rupees with clean water, and you give it back at the end of the day. Give us a deposit of 50 rupees. Suddenly, you will stop at least water bottles from going in. And Nitin Kakodkar has the power to do that. We merely need to make sure that we work with young people. Sanctuary, the magazine that I run, has now become the Sanctuary Nature Foundation. We work in 45 villages outside Ranthambore. And we make sure that when the children go out and they collect the rubbish that is thrown, we keep the rubbish for a while as a display item, so that tourists who go and say that, look, is it the job of children to do this? Is it the job of the forest department to do this? The forest department is protecting my tigers. They are not plastic pickers, but you have the authority to say, I will not let you go in, but give them the option of doing. So this is only one small solution. There are 1,000 such solutions. And bottom line, whether it is children or whether it is tourists, they will not do what you tell them to do. They will do what you do. So physician, heal yourself. Forest departments, including rangers, including forest guards, including forest watchers, everybody It should be clear that we don't litter, we don't use plastic to the extent that we can. We go back to the future and live the way our grandmothers lived, inside at least these pockets. It is not difficult to do. And yet, because of our indiscipline as Indians, it is difficult to do. So I would work with the Forest Department, and I would congratulate the Forest Department. There are places where this has effectively been done, and there are places where it has not effectively been done. It depends on that one individual, that one Nitin Kakotkar who's sitting down there, who percolates down the system, that this is our pride. This is part of our pride. This is part of who we are. We can do it. I think plastics have now become a scourge. It's in breast milk, as we heard before we started. It's in every single part of every single element of our lives. And if we don't start doing it in our national parks and sanctuaries, where we manage to keep those places free, when Kailash Sankla said, do nothing and allow nothing to be done, he may not have talked of plastics, but if he were alive today, I think he would talk of plastics as well. Let's on this Earth Day decide that we will do so, not with any great degree of anger or great degree of despair. We shall do this thing with a degree of we can do it. It's just a question of determination, and we will succeed to do it. And thank you very much, Karuna, for everything. I am leaving right now. I will try to join a little later, but please know that we are all in this together. We are not separate, and we will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you, Bittuji. Now I will invite Mr. Patanjali Jha, who happens to be Indian Revenue Service from 86 batch, hold the position of Principal CCIT highest in Mumbai and then Bangalore. Now he is a very avid natural farmer. So his passion is about generating forest and especially on the vetiver grass. Over to you, Patanjali ji. We would like to hear you how the natural farming in the buffer area or eco-sensitive area can control plastic more. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in the very august company, and it fills my heart with happiness when I hear people, officers, taking very effective steps to do that. So first of all, I practice no-till, multi-layer, permanent, regenerative food forests for the past 25 years. As you rightly mentioned, I'll briefly discuss about vetiver, but coming back to the plastics in the outside. I have a specific tool, the kind of plastic we are using in agriculture in the name of science is highly, highly objectionable. Now they have started doing the mulching. First, you burn the residue of the forest. Then you cover the mulch in the name of science. Let's mark it for the weeds not to come and make it more productive. Make it so the plastic, all of that is being utilized in the name of science in agriculture. I have very serious objection to that. So here comes our methods and our propagation. What we learned over a period of 2 decades, more than 2 decades, is very effective solutions for climate emergency, be it in a buffer zone, be it elsewhere, be it on the banks of major river systems. Vetiver, what we discovered was one such grass. We practice since no-till farming, so it is a multi-layered system on the same land. Vetiver, we gifted it to one NGO in Nashik, Raha Foundation, mostly from Bombay IIT. So they had a well which would go dry in the month of April. So I advised them when I was in Mumbai that please plant vetiver in and around the well, wherever the water recharge happens. Next year, 1-year-old vetiver system brought the well to 9 feet of water, because they are the IT engineers, so they keep a very meticulous record of water. We gifted vetiver to Bokaro Steel City, one DGM. He planted vetiver in the campus of Bokaro Steel City. Anjani Kumar Sinha is a friend. So they recorded at the end of 1 year, they recorded the temperature beneath vetiver, and outside the temperature difference was 9 degrees. small experiments, but huge potential. So wherever you have dry wells, wherever you have rains, wherever you have, you can make a hedge grow. And in Ethiopia, of all places, and mind you, vetiver is native to India. The whole world has adopted it except the country of its origin. So in Ethiopia, the farmers realized the true importance of vetiver as a hedge grow, where it was stopping their not only the topsoil from runoff, it was also a good fodder, it was also a good source of thatchery, and lo behold, it was generating water. Wetland systems were re-established. They created themselves after by some NGO. They have now a hedge grow of 15,000 square kilometer. Illiterate, semi-literate farmers. Now coming to the biomass, the permanent solution, obviously after burning this thing and destroying the last vestiges of life in the soil by putting the plastic in the field of the farm. Instead, if you have a mulch of a vetiver, if you have the mulch of other biomass, and which recharges groundwater, which purifies water, which lowers the temperature in its year one, mind you. And the shavings of this vetiver slip, the powdering of that, we sent it to Germany to one Wolfgang. He is one of the biggest scientists on sustainability. He was so excited at the prospect of working with this material. He said it's not only plastic, it is also the foam. It's a substitute for foam. That's another form of plastic we do not realize. So just see, even 20% of that gets replaced. What is the saving that you're doing? I know one Praj Industries of our country. They're a #1 company in biofuel in the world today. So this Mr. Pramod Chaudhary, they have a, the biodegradable plastic now. That is the future. That is the only, I completely agree with Mr. Sehgal. When he talks of reform, changing and this thing is not going to help in the long term. So they have a perfect technology whereby through this thing, you have a biodegradable plastic. Coming back to in the buffer zone, my brother has a farm in Umaria. Completely degraded land, completely. He was in the, he went and chose this land where not a speck of grass was growing. I wish I could share the pictures with you. Someday I will. In 3 years' time, with the help of the vetiver and the shavings of this, now the tigers come to his farm. It is as good as the main, Bandipur forest. Why? Because, and the simple things that he did was, growing his grow bags instead of the plastic, he was using the earth, not baked, mind you. Earth with the straw is a fantastic way of, and you put the entire pot along with the plant inside the soil and they dissolve. Why should forests not be adopting this in their nurseries? Because it's not expensive. And they get dissolved automatically. The forests have to have more laws and better practices and simple things by no tilling, by establishing these food forests, not only in the buffer zone, but also outside. That's the last method whereby human race can survive. Otherwise, this 1.5 degree decisive crossing of temperature is inevitable. And we have a solution. So my dream is if we have such farms across the country, we have a collaboration with Tata's now. We are doing some 500 acres of their wasteland today. Today, ITC sustainability head was here with us on the farm. I really, instead of speaking a lot, I would just like you to see the food forest of 5 years of our, where we are currently participating. This is what you can achieve. Great biodiversity, great, the birds, we have lost 1/3 of the avian population in the country. So we have become so heartless. So much of pesticides, none of it is needed. No chemical fertilizer is needed. None of it is needed if you have forests, which is the future. If for human survival, the sooner we have adopted this on our farm in Madhya Pradesh, where goes to 50 degrees. in Khargone district, next to Narmada Ji. On our farm, the temperature never goes beyond 36.
Patanjali ji,
Yeah.
conclude.
I'll just conclude. So here is a method, here is a solution, which in my considered opinion is most effective, which is productive, which also produces enough biomass for government's ambitious and right policy of compressed biogas, the clean energy, the circular economy, because it goes towards producing clean energy, and the residue is an organic fertilizer which goes back into the soil, and it can run aviations, it can run the households, and it can also run the vehicular this thing. Agriculture in its current form is contributing 30% of greenhouse gas emissions. Dr. Ratan Lal, recipient of World Food Prize, equivalent of Nobel Prize in Agriculture, says if you increase 2% percentile carbon in the soil across the globe, you can reverse all greenhouse gas emissions. He's a wise man. Let's listen to him. When you plant a vetiver, when you plant a moringa, when you plant a multi-layered trees and forests and grasses, you do maximum carbon. So it's a gold standard where farmers get where you can produce bioplastic, biodegradable plastic, where you can revive nature, where you can create enormous employment opportunities, where farmers can produce energy as well as food. Thank you.
Thank you, Patanjali. Thank you so much for sharing your personal experience, because you have done on the ground. That is very, very important. Thank you so much. So please be connected with us to have a deliberation in the second round. Now I will invite Soumitra Jaiswal. He is from Environment Legal Defense Firm to give a legal perspective or legal framework of plastic pollution control. Mr. Soumitra.
Yes, hi, hello, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. So I'll just quickly jump into the discussion of plastic and its challenges, specifically in wildlife protected areas. So to start with, when you talk about wildlife sanctuaries and protected area, the Wildlife Act itself, there are two sections, as already pointed out by Mr. Ranjan earlier, Section 32 and 33, where 32 says that persons who are in wildlife or national park, what are they not supposed to do is they are not supposed to use injurious substances. Now, what are injurious substances? Of course, plastic is. But the section doesn't say that how can one be declared. However, Section 33 is of a more comprehensive nature, where it provides power to the chief wildlife warden to prepare management plan for the protection, management, and control of wildlife protected areas. Using this section, Odisha have banned single-use plastics in all its protected areas. In Chandigarh, the Sukna Wildlife Sanctuary, plastics have been banned. Further, of course, as already mentioned by Mr. Ranjan, the National Tiger Conservation Authority has issued its guidelines, which has completely banned burying, burning, or disposing of non-biodegradable toxic waste, which of course includes plastic materials in tiger reserve. Jharkhand, in their protected areas, have banned single-use plastic. Rajasthan has done the same with the provision that first-time offenders will have to pay 500 rupees, second-time offenders will have to pay 1,000 rupees, including criminal charges can also be imposed on them. So many steps are being taken, and as informed by Mr. Rajan, that many other measures have been taken in the government front against plastic usage in protected areas. But generally speaking, what has to be considered here is that what is the law generally and how can that be connected to the protected areas? Because the law generally are also applicable in protected areas. So as most of you must be knowing, there are more than 23 states and UTs who have completely banned plastic bags. So more than 50% of the nation there shouldn't be any plastic bags. And there are many other plastic products such as PET bottles in Odisha, plastic manja, and such other products that have been banned by respective states. Speaking of ban, the August 2021 notification of the central government, which is an amendment to the plastic waste rules, wherein several SUP single-use plastics have been banned, such as earbud, plastic sticks, balloons, and the plastic sticks used in balloons, plastic flags, thermocols, all kinds of cutleries have been banned in the nation. Wrapping of sweet boxes with plastic sheets have been banned. So many products have already been banned. Specific states have gone ahead and banned some more products that are not already banned. And in those states, whatever protected areas are there, those shouldn't be there on the go. Then the ESZ, which is declared around the wildlife sanctuaries, has their own provisions, such as the Manjathal Wildlife Sanctuary in Himachal Pradesh have banned plastic bags. Such other notification on ESZs are there, and then almost all the other notification refers to compliance with plastic waste rules of 2016. So now let's jump on plastic waste rules of 2016. There have been a continuous evolution on the rules right from 1999 when it was first enacted. It got amended in 2003. And for my presentation today, I'll be focusing specifically on EPR because the rule itself has got many provisions because the lack of time and the importance of EPR in today's discussion, I'll be focusing on EPR. So in 1999, EPR provisions were not there, but when these 1999 rules were superseded in 2011 is when EPR was first introduced, only for manufacturer of plastic bags and multi-layered plastic pouches. So it was limited to that till 2011, but now in 2016, there has been a shift to entire packaging industry and only packaging industry. So EPR as of today is only applicable to the segment of plastic industry which is involved in packaging. So all producers are required. Now, who are producers? We call them PIBOs, which are producers, importers, and brand owners. So as per the definition that is provided in the rules, all these three players of the industry are included in the definition of producer. So they are supposed to be. Pardon, sir?
1 minute to conclude. 1 minute to conclude because this is the first round, so we will go into the
Yes.
second.
So I'll just quickly go through this. So even 2016 rules has comprehensively dealt with EPR, but it only in February 2022 comprehensively the framework has now been established, which has categorized plastic packaging industry into 5 categories. These are rigid plastics, which is the boxes that we have, plastic containers that we have. Then there are single or multi-layered plastics, plastic packaging material, which are single or multi-layered. Then multi-layered packaging with one layer of plastic, such as Tetra Packs. Then they are compostable plastic, then they are biodegradable packaging plastic. So these 5 categories has been established, and the producers or the importers or the brand owners have been given targets. And how the targets are evaluated is whatever you have produced in last 2 years, the average of that is taken into consideration, and based on that, and there's a whole formula to it, based on that, in 2021 22 25% of that had to be collected in the financial year 2022 2023, 70%, and from now on everything that they have produced in last 2 years they have to collect equally. Further, there are targets for how much should be recycled. Further, there are targets of what recycled products has to be reused back into their value chain. So there is a good framework that has been established. Now, the only question that arises is that the way they are going to prove that they have done their bit, their obligation, they have met their obligation is by getting certificates from the recyclers. Now, all of this is now being done in portal and it is being connected to the GST framework. So the mechanism is for now to be initiated with is going in the right direction. The only problem comes into its implementations where the provision for environmental compensation, which is also detailed down, the provision for punishing and imprisonment is there, which mostly we have realized have failed when it comes to any criminal action or imprisonment. For such offenses, it has not really been really implemented or taken a direction of. Mostly it has been an environmental compensation, and even NGT, National Green Tribunal, in various cases have taken initiative in this regard. So my conclusion would be that uh, there are many ideas, for example, that has been given by Mr. Patanjali and other fellow members who are there in the meeting. So all of that could be somehow branched into the framework of law that has been created and continuously evolving. The main question is now that the producers who have to follow their EPR, how are they going to create the network so ultimately they reach the protected areas? Because it has been given, it has been imposed on them to do everything. They have to coordinate with the.
So Mitra, we will discuss the solution part in the second round. So first you are flagging the issues. What are the main issues that has to be flagged? So thank you very much. So we will take up those issues in the second round. So now I will invite Nitin Kakodkar to share his experience of Maharashtra.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And first of all, greetings on Earth Day. I would just, after mentioning two case studies, one was already mentioned by Mr. Bivash Ranjan, who talked about, who just mentioned Amrabat Tiger Reserve, and the other one is, of course, Tadoba. Considering the lack of time, I'm going to be really fast. So please don't mind this. The Amrabat Tiger Reserve, all of you know that the National Highway 765 passes through it and it goes to Sri Sailam. And it is it is visited by many people. In addition, there are some annual fairs within the Tiger Reserve in certain places. And all this gives rise to a lot of plastic waste. And there have been wild animals feeding on these plastics. Now they conducted a study first in February 21 and found out that 800 kgs of plastic waste was collected. Their general guess is that about 350 to 2,300 kgs of plastic is generated or collected every week. Depending on what season they are. So that is the amount of plastic. What they have done is they have focused on 4 stages. First of all is the collection of the plastic by what they call is the Safai Sevaks. They have appointed 16 Swachh Sevaks who do the collection, and they have the gloves and they have the pickers. They've been provided, and this is then they have some trucks with trailers which collect these whatever is collected. Then they are sent to the collection center. Right now they have one center at a place called Mananur, which is the entry point from the Hyderabad side. And what they do there is they have 2 patrolling vehicles with trailers for collection, and one forester and one beat officer is appointed to oversee the whole operation. They also, the same patrolling team which uses the vehicle also collects fines from the violators of this plastic. When it is brought to the collection center, it is done, the bailing is done. Now, initially they were using manual bales, but now they have replaced them with electrical machines, which has been donated by someone. And then the baled plastic is transported further to the cities at Hyderabad, which is then recycled. If we speak about the fines which are collected, in 22-23, they collected something like 26.28 lakhs at Mananur. And they have also started now a similar center at Domalpenta, which is the other end of the highway. And since January 24, they have collected a fine of 5.53 lakhs. Now, basically, bailing is done to reduce the volume. Now, when they were using manual bailing, they could do about 15 kgs in one bale. But now with the use of electric bailing, where the compression is much higher, they are doing about 150 kgs in one pack. And when there are enough bales, then they call for a truck and transport this. In the last 18 months, the figures are about 12,000 kgs has been sent for recycling from Mananur, and which includes about 5,800 kgs of PET bottles, 1,350 kgs of plastic glasses, 3,700 kgs of the multi-layered plastics, and 2,000 kgs of cardboard. What they have also done along with this is they've done a lot of cleanup drives for the staff awareness on special days. And they have also suggested, or rather put in place, certain alternatives like jute bags. They have made a jute bag making unit which has been established, and they have also established a RO plant at the entry point to encourage people to eliminate. They've also set up a leaf plate making machine, and people are encouraged to use this. All this has also provided a lot of employment to the locals. Now I'll come to the other example, which is the Tadoba Tiger Reserve. I remember way back in when was this? 99, 2000. I was driving a car and the Gypsy, and suddenly I got down and started running. And after a few minutes I came back. My co-visitor, who was a VIP, said, "What the hell? How can you just leave the Gypsy and go like that?" I said, "No, there was a deer which was running around with a plastic, with a Haldiram types pouch in his mouth. So when I ran, I could stop him and collect it and pocket it." That was just the beginning, and we put up a hoarding there later on, which said, "Oh dear," that is, "Oh dear" is DEAR. "Oh dear, oh dear." The second deer was DEER, DEER. One plastic bag would mean one dead deer. So that was a hoarding which was put up just to create awareness amongst the people. Now, what they have done now is over the years, of course, this has gone down drastically, and the core area has been virtually freed of plastic. There was a video going around recently, which was, I think, I don't know whether it helped Tadoba or it was against Tadoba. But this was from the buffer area. There was a tiger which was toying with a plastic bag, a bottle which was kept. What they have now done is, in any entry into the core area, you cannot carry any plastic bottles. And they have given them an alternative. What they have done is, can I show you this? Yeah. This is a bottle, glass bottle, and a set of such 6 bottles are given into placed in every Gypsy. So that yes, right. That is what Vidya is also carrying. This is placed, and they charge 120 rupees per bottle when you go inside, and out of which 20 rupees are kept with them, and 100 rupees are returned if you return the bottle. But many tourists, they want to carry this bottle back, and then they can carry it by paying 100 rupees. Apart from this, so this is a very good thing, and now they have further improved. They've made this gift box, if I can show you, which has 2 bottles, and these can be taken back as souvenirs. This also generates revenue for the foundation, Tiger Foundation. And then just to tell you, from this bottle thing, they have collected, in the last few days, between 21 and March 24, 58,132 bottles have been used by tourists, and about 4,000 bottles have been purchased. So that is the kind of this awareness drive. There's another thing that they have done, because plastic, as somebody said, Mr. Ranjan said that plastic is brought in by the tourists. Yes, it is brought in by the tourists, but the villages which are around the PAs also generate a lot of plastic. So that is also where we need to focus upon. And they have now put in place a mechanism which where they call it zero plastic. And at 3 villages, Devada, Moharli, and Agarzari village, they have kept e-rickshaws to collect door to door the plastic which is generated. And for every villager, every village home, they have given 3 buckets which segregate plastic into wet organic waste, dry recyclable waste, as well as domestic hazardous waste. Now this waste is segregated and this generates employment to the locals. And then from that also, from the sale of the dry waste, they have generated about 37,000 odd from the sale of 5.5 tons of plastics. So up to now, they have harvested, or rather collected 7.5 tons of plastic, which has been sieved, which has led to clean village surroundings. Awareness and trainings for homestays has been done. Compost is made available, for which is used by the department as well as by the farmers. Now this has also been set up by or started. The composting units have also been started by some of the tourist lodges, which is another good thing. So yes, policy is in place, but unless these things are implemented, maybe we can talk later about what could be done, or 2 or 3 things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nitin, for sticking to the time. Now I will invite Mr. Ravikant Sinha. He was PCCF of West Bengal, so he will share his experience, especially focusing on the Sundarban area.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody, all the panelists and the participants, and thank you, Vidya, and thank you, the organization which organized this webinar. I'll just share something about Sundarbans as specified by Vidya Bhushan, because we've done all the usual things of banning plastics and everything, but specifically in the case of Sundarbans, we started well before any orders came from the center. We started in 2013, where amongst ourselves in the forest department itself in Sundarbans, we decided that we will not use any plastic. And that was the first beginning of orientation of our own staff, of our own people, where we thought we stop that. The second stage that we did was, okay, we'll try to reduce population. Now, in Sundarbans, it's a very different terrain where everything is cut off with water. You just cannot go on land. You have to be on water. And everything comes in and goes out every 6 hours due to the tides. So whatever is being used on land will go into the water. It will go into the forest area. And it will come back again, maybe partially, maybe fully. Part of it gets stuck on the islands in the forest areas. Part of it goes back onto the beaches of the villages. So we started targeting the fringe village. One unusual thing that we did there was we roped in all our eco-development committees, which is the fringe population. And we started convincing them of not using any type of plastic. That was a very, very difficult task in Sundarbans, because plastic as such is in use in almost all facets of life. You needed to carry drinking water, you needed to carry fuel, you needed to use your storage for your grains, you need it for shelter, all the plastic tarpaulin sheets, you need it even for embankment protection, where because of the tides you have embankments, and all their livelihood is dependent on not allowing the seawater to come into the agriculture field. So just to protect the embankment, they would use plastic sheets weighed down with bricks, with bamboo netting, etc. And then, of course, the tourists that come into the Sundarbans. Again, as I said, because it's on water, the advantage that we got was that everybody has to go on a boat, on a launch. So we started targeting the launch owners. In the village, the first thing we did was we said, okay, we are going to replace all your plastic carry bags with biodegradable bags or jute bags. And we took the help of panchayats in identifying people who were too poor, and we would give it to them for free. People who could afford it, we'd ask them to pay a nominal 20 rupees, 30 rupees, something of that sort. That was quite successful. A lot of NGOs in that area also got involved, and they helped us quite a lot in this replacement of at least carry bags that people use for markets. Then came the ban on single-use plastics, ban on microplastics and all, and it was implemented fairly decently in that fringe area. So the uh, plastic bags, etc., disappeared on their own. But we still couldn't do anything about the embankment protection and the containers that were used there. For the tourists, the advantage was that we roped in all the launch owners who would get a license to go into the forest areas. And we made them responsible for taking care of all the waste, plastic waste that any tourist is carrying, and bring it back to the jetty back where they are disembarking. And the only issue that we told them was that in case we find any of you polluting the area, throwing any tourist of your launch, throwing anything in the river, we are going to cancel your license and will not allow you lifelong. I'm happy to say that we didn't have to cancel anybody's license. We all cooperated. Maybe they thought forest department means business or they were afraid, but whatever. There was tremendous cooperation. And I myself have seen where some tourists has thrown some rubbish into the river and the boat behind starts shouting to the guy, boatman in front that your guy has thrown something, come back and pick it up. So they would turn around and pick it up, and it really turned out to be quite a good thing. For embankment protection, there is a lot of embankments in the fringe villages, and we were not able to convince the irrigation and flood control departments to use anything but plastic because for them it was quite cheap. But in the forest areas itself, in the Biosphere Reserve as well as the Tiger Reserve, we started using jute bags with specially light paper. And these were self-filling bags. If somebody wants to know more about it, probably they can send me an email. I'll share the details with them. It required very little labor. We would fill it up with cement, raw cement and sand mixture, and just place it on the embankment. And the jute bag and the paper lining is so designed that it can even filter out the salty water and cure the cement in situ. So we didn't have to do cement block curing, etc. on the land. It was in situ that it happened. And our main center in Gosawa, where we have the main entry point, you can still see that embankment that we did about 4 years ago. It's already gone through 4 cyclones. Yes, Vidya.
Please conclude. 1 minute. 1 minute to.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one, and of course we've had awareness generation campaigns with everybody. We also set up collection points for all the plastic waste from all the tourist lodges, in which we involved our development committees. Currently, we've got about 4 such centers where the plastic waste is collected, baled, and taken out towards Calcutta. But there are about 9 such entry points to Sundarban, so we've not been able to tackle the remaining 5. That is where something needs to be done. And of course, it's very expensive because everything has to be done by boat, and the cost of running boats, the diesel that it consumes, and the manpower that's required is quite exorbitant. So obviously, with our limited budgets, we are not able to do too much. But these are the few things that we tried doing in Sundarbans, and of course, there is a tremendous market difference now in the beaches and the shores that you see in Sundarbans, that you don't see too much of plastic lying around, keeping in view the population that is there. But thank you again, Vidya, for the opportunity, and thank you very much for this conference.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable experience. Now I will request Mr. Jasbir Singh, who happens to be a PCC of Wildlife of Madhya Pradesh, and he will share his experience about the Madhya Pradesh.
Thank you, Vidya boss, and the co-panelists. First of all, let me greet everyone on the happy Earth's Day, and that's how we are here. I would, because this subject is something like, everyone has some or the other idea. This is under discussion for quite some time now. So I'll restrict myself to what basically we have tried to do in Madhya Pradesh. I've been in the protected area, then I have been in the supervisory role at the headquarters also. So the first thing that comes to my mind that we have done is to educate the students of the local communities in the schools, basically, and to our pleasant surprise, we have got some excellent feedback, excellent results of that. I'll just quote one small example with the help of one of our NGO and the NGI. The park management, they conducted a workshop kind of a thing for the school children, and it was just a day-long exercise. And one of the kid, the student was from a business. There was a retail outlet in some village which was catering to some 15-20 villages. And where the kid, after the discussion, the day-long discussion and the exposure and the many of our naturalists also, they joined and they also shared their experiences. And that kid, he went back to his home, and he put his foot down, and he just argued with his father. And we won't use polythene in our shop now. And his father was even still whatever plastic he had, he had to use that. But then this student, the outstanding student, and he made sure that from there on, they never used plastic. So this is just one example. But then there were many more motivated students who have actually given us feedback in the headquarters also, not just to the park office, but also to me personally, that what is happening around. One of the as somebody in the earlier in the discussion was telling us that we hardly have any jurisdiction on the eco-sensitive zone, because we are not the authorized this thing to act under the Environment Protection Act. So one of the lodge basically was actually excavating the Banjar River upstream from the Tiger Reserve. So the local students, they basically made it a point that no, this is wrong and you should not be doing this. But the lodge owner, he actually didn't listen to them. Then the students, they came to Mukhi, and Mukhi is one of the range headquarters, and they complained to the range officer, and that's how the complaint came to me when I was the field actor there. And the remedial measures was actually then done, and the lodge owner was actually strictly warned that if you do this, you'll be booked. So this is the impact of the awareness created amongst the EDC members and the students of primary and the junior high school, which this is an integral part of Kana management. We keep on doing this from our park development fund, and every year we make it a point that when certain classes, we target them, and then we take them in the park, spend the whole day, and I mean, say, invite some of the naturalists, well qualified naturalists from even Taj or similar other lodges, and they interact with the people. So that is one thing that we have done in the Kana, and not just in Kana, maybe even in Painch and Bandhavgarh also we are trying to do that. Then the second one is the training and regular training to our guides and the drivers. So like Sinha Saab was just narrating an incident when the one of the tourists, he actually threw some litter in the water, and then the other guests, basically they shouted that no, you shouldn't be doing this. So the similar cases they happen in Kana, Bandhavgarh, Painch, and I am happy to share that none of our parks in Madhya Pradesh, I mean, you hardly find any gutka pouch or a Haldiram type of pouch or anything, because the drivers and the guides are very well trained, and every year they are reminded of. They're trained every year. So they, whenever and wherever they basically find up anything of plastic or any other waste, they will pick it up and keep in the vehicle. We also have a central place inside the core area called Kana, where we have the refreshment facility, and also the restrooms and the nature interpretation center. And so all the visitors going to that zone, I mean, they compulsorily visit that area, that place. So what we had done earlier, we had put some big dustbin or the waste bin, and it was filled up every day. So we had to carry it to somewhere outside the park in our campus, and then burn it there or dispose it there. One fine morning, we decided not to have this, so we removed that. And we again passed on the message to the drivers and the guides. Whatever waste you generate, you take it back to your lodges. And since then, it is basically sincerely followed, and there is no waste inside the park now. So that was the second thing that basically we done. Then we got a opportunity. We got some funds from the Government of India to actually develop the destination. So in one of our sanctuaries that was with the Kana management, Fane Wildlife Sanctuary, we had actually tried to develop some facilities there. But as part of that, we thought of creating the plastic waste management unit there. So, but then we also felt that there was not enough of the plastic waste generated there to actually run this the machine regularly. So we roped in the municipal corporation of, please.
1 minute to conclude.
Yeah, sure. So we actually roped in the municipal corporation of Mandla, the district headquarters, and it had enough. So we actually got in touch with them, and they agreed to install that in Mandla, and also to pick up the plastic waste from the nearby Ghatia area, where the concentration of most of the lodges is there. And but unfortunately, that didn't take off. And I got transferred. Then the gentleman there, very energetic chair of the municipal corporation, he passed away. So it didn't click. But that is one way of thinking at the solutions. So currently, I'll just say that, I mean, there are ways and means to handle the situation. But then, as Vibhas, I think, was mentioning, that there's something to do with the corporate houses of plastic industry, that they come and then handhold the such initiatives in the field. So for now, this is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jasbir, for sharing your experience. And now I will request Mr. Avni Vermaji, who happens to be the PCCF of Karnataka, to share his experience from the ecotourism perspective point of view also.
Thank you, Vidyaji. Good morning, friends. And first of all, I thank you for having me here. Annually, 430 million tons plastics are produced by human. 70% is added as waste, and the recycled endpoint, as you all know, are us. Yet, production has gone up 22 times in the last 50 years. As per UNEP report. And likely contribution 19% for GHG, addition to which tourism is a big driver, as has been found out by WTO and WTTC in their 2021 point plan of action. Wildlife area, whether it is ocean-based, river-based, forest, or biodiversity-based tourism, what we call ecotourism, they are becoming more and more problem sources, whether it is by manager, by customer, that is the tourist, or by suppliers, and sometimes by government themselves, as has been pointed out by many speakers. There are success stories, as we have just heard, and I'm very happy to share that ecotourism destinations like Rameshwaram and Kundapur, Mangalore, all these areas have been subjected to similar kind of ameliorating measures by enthusiastic forest department people. Still, there's a long way to go. When we have got 1,000 ecotourism destinations in our country, these few examples are no doubt giving us some encouragement, but then a lot has to be done. We have to ask whether guides are being trained and taught, are customers being made aware of the problem, are managers conscious of this, is greenwashing going out, and what could be done to address it. So friends, as you know, apart from the compulsory rules, etc., which are there in the place, there is a thing called voluntary certification method, by which the destinations themselves decide to do something concrete about the whole problem about sustainability of ecotourism destination, in which plastic pollution finds a place. You will be happy to note that Global Sustainable Tourism Council has collaborated with a couple of organizations like NCCF, and a certification standard has been formed. I'm not going to talk about those standards per se, but I would say any such certification system which is voluntary in nature, mind you, we have to be very, very conscious of that. But then voluntary action, as you know, happens to be much more effective in due course of time than what we can achieve through compulsory rules. So all these voluntary certification systems have inbuilt legal provisions to be followed. Those are the compulsory things which has to be done by management. And you just found out there are so many legal provisions to check pollution, particularly plastic pollution. Whether polluter pay principle is being applied by those management or by the authorities or not, whether the waste disposal system is in place, and if so, whether it is being managed properly or not. Now the certification system, as you know, works on 3 independent entities. That is, one is certificate body, one is the auditor, and one is the international cooperation of all the certification bodies, federation you can call, which keeps a hawk eye on the implementation of these things, and they give you the customer or the government a clear cut destination that yes, this destination, whether it is large or the entire park, as has been pointed out by our MP friends, whether they are being managed in a true green sustainable manner, of which, as I submitted, plastic pollution is a very important component. Recycling strategy, All these part of those standards. I don't want to go into details. There are criteria and indicators which auditor goes and verifies. Now, this has been proved to be very, very successful all over the world. It is not something new. It has been going on for the last 3 decades, if I'm not wrong, wherein UNEP and WTO had united together to bring in this kind of voluntary thing amongst the ecotourism practitioners, including the owners of these destinations, which in our country happens to be mostly Goa. Now, specifically, I would say that we have just talked about the land use, plastic pollution. Sundarban has been touched by our esteemed friend. So we should remember, friends, that coastal ecotourism is really big problem, biggest problem, because it is taken for granted. And you would be surprised to note that almost 8 million ton is added to the coasts through coastal tourism alone, as 8 out of 10 global tourists visit these destinations. So it would be very important to have, something specifically done about these global coastal area, destinations. Now, I think I have spoken in general about the ecotourism strategy, standard strategy to tackle this plastic pollution problem. But when the question of solution comes and discussion takes place, I will take up the matter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Now I will request Mr. Vijay K. Sarma, who was the DG Odisha and very interested in wildlife conservation. So I will request him to share Odisha experience. Vijay.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Kumar. I don't know whether I'm visible or not. There was some technical issue. But am I audible?
Now you are visible. I can see your
visible now.
Very long mustache also.
Okay, thank you so much. So, good afternoon, distinguished panelists, and really thankful to Mr. Kumar for having invited me to this webinar. We have talked about awareness generation. We have talked about how plastics are to be collected back and recycled, and the EPR and everything. I am from the police background, so let me focus only on the enforcement part of it. Now, there are people who pollute the protected areas. So many of them could be innocent, many of them could not be knowing. So awareness generation is extremely crucial. But what happens to people who do it deliberately and intentionally? Now, there are two ways of handling them. One is the plastic management rules where fines are being imposed. When, as it was mentioned some times back, that in some of the protected areas, huge amount of fines have been collected, and that has created some deterrence. But in this, I see Odisha as a pioneering state. One of the panelists, distinguished panelists, mentioned that in March, an order was issued in Odisha by the Chief Wildlife Warden. And that order said that from 1st of April, plastic pollution inside the protected areas would be completely banned and penalized. And this order was issued under Section 33 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Now, there are two ways of handling this problem. One is obviously you have plastic management rules, whereby you can impose a fine on somebody who is deliberately and intentionally polluting. But that's only a fine amount, which could vary from maybe 5,000 to 25,000, depending on the state legislation. But I'm one who is saying, I'm not the one who is saying that you go out for people and arrest them or take action under Wildlife Protection Act just because he is polluting. Because awareness generation can take care of the problem. A lot of experiments have shown that there is distinct improvement in the behavior pattern of the people. I'm talking about a situation where you find deliberate and intentional act on the part of people to pollute the protected areas. So there I'm suggesting that invocation of Section 33 of the Wildlife Protection Act in lieu of imposition of fine under plastic management rules shall be more deterrent and shall be more effective. Now, Forest Department people are inside the protected areas. It will be much easier for the ranger or the ACF to invoke the provisions and take action under the law. Section 33 gives power to the Chief Wildlife Warden to take effective steps for management of the protected area and for the security of the wildlife. And if you find people deliberately, repeatedly, and intentionally doing it, I would recommend that in befitting cases, there could be prosecution as well. At the end of the day, even though somebody is punishable under Section 51 of the Wildlife Protection Act, which provides for a jail term of up to 3 years also, at the end of the day, the magistrate may not send him to the jail and would be more than satisfied to impose him a fine amount. But that whole process of undergoing a criminal prosecution, whereby you go to the court, attend dates and wait for the judgment, that has tremendous amount of deterrence value. Because we have seen in Odisha, the prosecution in Odisha has not started. From 1st of April, it has come into force. But there's so much of media hype, there's so much of talk in the civil society, there's so much of talk among the conservationist group that this order by the Chief Wildlife Warden is something which will create impact, and it has created an impact. So I would urge that whenever we find this kind of deliberate or a repeated violation, rather than invoking the provisions of plastic management rules whereby fine amounts could be imposed, in befitting cases, maybe in rare cases, but in befitting cases, the provisions of Section 51 of the Wildlife Act can also be invoked, provided there is an enabling notification issued under Section 33 by the Chief Wildlife Warden, and he bans plastic or carrying of plastic or littering of the protected areas. That will create tremendous amount of deterrence, that will create tremendous amount of impact. And in the long run, we would find that, yes, there are laws, and laws are not meant only to be kept in the books. Those are meant to be enforced. They are not being enforced on a widespread scale, or they are not being enforced just to exhibit power. Those are being enforced in befitting cases where the violation is repeated, intentional, and deliberate. So that's what I advocate, that in befitting cases, let's take recourse to the provisions of Wildlife Protection Act by invoking the powers of Chief Wildlife Warden under Section 33 of the Act. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay, for enlightening on the legal aspect, especially on the enforcement part. So now I will request from the plastic industry, Mr. Ganesh, who happens to be Vice President of Bisleri, because we have heard a lot of problem now. The solution is also with the plastic industry. So Mr. Ganesh, please share your experience and suggestion.
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon, sir. Thank you, Vidyaji and Earth Day organization for inviting me for this webinar. And it's very delighted to be here with amidst of all the senior IFS and IPS officers who have worked intensively in the forest areas. So thank you so much, sir. And let me start with greeting on Earth Day to all. Sir, Bisleri International Private Limited started in the year 1969, has been in the forefront for giving a pure and safe drinking water to all the citizens in the country. In the process, we also use packaging materials, plastics, and we use water for our manufacturing. So Bisleri as a company, we had committed towards sustainable things from the day of our inceptions. In way back in 90s, we were one among the first companies to bring in the recycle machines imported from Japan. It was in 1990s. And we brought the concept of how the plastic can be recycled and then can be used for different applications. And sir, in 2018, we have initiated a program called Bottle for Change. So Bottle for Change program is, so even though there were various regulations which was telling about the plastic waste management and other thing, we thought that how can we reach to the public? Which had made us to start this initiative called Bottle for Change, wherein we go to all the stakeholders, the housing societies, the schools and colleges, the corporates, and also to the hotels and restaurants, wherein we look in where the populations and the people travel and then people come, and also the educational institutes. So we started cultivating the habit of telling them plastic is not a waste, but responsible disposal is creating issues. So it's a big awareness drive program which we initiated in the year 2018. And through this program, sir, we are now working in around 20 cities across the country. 21 municipal corporations are tied up with us. And we had reached more than 10.13 lakh citizens across the country. And from 2018 to till date, we had collected more than 10,300 metric tons of plastics. This is the plastic which has been collected directly from the households and from the colleges and from the corporates. So this program also helped us to inform or educate the stakeholders on the source segregation, sir, because we have been talking about the plastic management, and we all, each and everyone use plastic in one form or other in our life. And from the personal care to the health care, plastic has been used in various applications and various forms. The source segregation, which is a very prime important thing, sir, even though we consume plastic and then we dispose plastic, if the plastic is not disposed responsibly, then it will go to landfill and again going to create a climate effect and all the side effects, which is going to implicate the entire earth as such, as a whole. Sir, coming to our good works, which we have did is through 21 municipal corporations across the country, we have been associated with them to operate and technically help them out on the material recovery facilities. Okay. So they were having some centers which didn't have the baling machines, they didn't have a sorters. So as a company, we facilitated them by giving them the baling machines. So we are now associated with 5 MRF centers across the country in collaboration with the municipal corporation. On seeing this, even some of the colleges has come out and then they had asked us for suggestions. And now we are working with two colleges across the country on the material recovery facilities. So the material recovery facilities will collect all type of plastics, the 7 different type of plastics. We will be segregating it and then it will be going it for the recycling. Sir, also we had an opportunity to have a collaboration with the Karnataka State Forest Department during the Mahashivratri function, which was a 1 week function there in Charmadi Hills, it's Charmadi Ghat. So there were lots of public who came and then they started putting littering their plastics all over the places. We had taken a drive, and through the drive, we were able to collect 1,900 kgs of plastics in collaboration with the department. Also, we had created a Guinness World Record in 31st of January. We had sensitized the children's, the college students in Coimbatore, wherein we have collected 79,700 kgs of plastics. So these all initiatives is done to create an awareness among the citizens, telling them, please don't litter it. If it is going to litter, it is going to go to the landfill and then going to create a problem. So we have been taking these are some of the things. Also, sir, we have also collaborated, associated with the Arinjar Anna Zoological Park. It's in Chennai. So wherein last year we have collaborated, and till date we have collected more than 3,200 kgs of plastics from the zoo. So I just like to just give a small update on the activities which we have done, and through this Bottle for Change activities, we have reached to 4,500 housing societies, 1,200 plus schools and colleges, 1,000 corporate houses, 850 hotels and restaurants, and collected 10,329 metric tons till date from 2018 onwards. So we as a company, we use a plastic which is 100% recyclable. We also recommend others, because when I was just listening to the other panel, the discussions, other panelists who are telling about the different types of plastics. So there are some plastics which is not recyclable, which is going for the cement kiln for burning, which is creating a pollution and creating a health issues also. And also, sir, I would also like to tell that when the EPR regulations has come in the country, with the Plastic Waste Management 2016, then slowly got amended into different forms. initially they were mentioning about the companies should collect the plastic which they have consumed equal to the plastics. So as a company from 2021 onwards, we are a plastic neutral company. We collect more plastic than the plastic is being consumed in the market. Sir, also closely working with the government, we had come into two more important aspects along with the EPR, that is the reuse and the recycled plastic content. Okay, sir. See, the new concept is the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So, as a company, we are also educating the public on reducing the plastic content wherever possible. Reduce the plastics, and second, use reuse concept. Recycle content will also come into a new height in the country. We were discussing about the downcycling. So now with PET bottles can be made again as a bottle. So bottle to bottle is coming. So it's coming an upcycling. And to the entire experts over here, 95% of the PET bottles are being collected and then being recycled in the country. Okay. So, sir, with this also, I just wanted to give a small glimpse of the thing through the Bottle for Change and the program which we have did. Last year by collecting and recycling the plastic, we had able to save 124 million kgs of CO2 emission, 59 million cubic feet of landfill, 424 gigawatt of energy, 189 lakh liters of oil, and 130,300 million liters of water. Because this is which we did through collecting the plastic and sending for recycling. Sir, also through this process, we are able to achieve 14 of the 17 SDG goals. Okay. So, sir, now coming to the forest side, as a company, we will be very happy to get associated with any of the forest in the country, and to be a role model and a pilot. We'll take the complete forest and then we see how that forest is being controlled with respect to the plastics. Because even though our business is into the packet drinking water, we wanted to see that the entire citizens are made aware of that and our forest is being protected. So, sir, forest being a very closed area and very controlled area, so we can have some systems wherein the people, when the citizens go inside to the forest, the entry point with some restrictions and having some bins in different locations, so that the plastic which is being used by them is disposed in the bin. We will be having a mechanism wherein we will be having a collaborative effort with the forest department. And I also request that, sir, because we are all having a good experience and knowledge on the forest, how to manage the forest and other thing. So the plastic management should also see that one officer should be dedicated only for the plastic in the entire forest. So that means that person will be responsible and then he will be giving a report to the state or to the forest department telling that how much plastics is being collected there and what are all the loopholes and how the loopholes can be closed. So it can be easily done as a company, sir. We had been implementing in various parts, even we adopted village. So we'll be very happy to adopt any of the forests in the country and take a role model and tell to the public, yes, you need to do this. And this is the way which can be taken forward. And this will help to keep the forest very clean and very beautiful. And then we can use and then enjoy the nature. So with that, I stop my discussion. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you. And it is very heartening to know that you are ready to collaborate with the forest department. And after this webinar, we will be contacting you to have some pilot action plan on the ground. Like Sundarban, we can take, depending upon your viability, Taroba or any other Bannerghatta we can take. So that will be after this webinar, we will discuss and initiate some action to go on the field so that we don't only talk, we also do something on the field.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now I will invite Mr. Surendra Kumar to share his Kerala experience.
Good afternoon, all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. I want to start with a remark that there is no dearth of rules and regulations regarding reducing the plastic from our forest area. In fact, Mr. T.N. Sesson, in one of his talk, which I was listening, he has remarked that India is a country with maximum per capita availability of laws and rules and minimum per capita implementation of the same. So our Wildlife Act, even Forest Act, Plastic Management Rules, EPA, everything gives us enough power to restrict plastic usage in the forest areas. The real challenge is implementation. And implementation in forest area, it cannot be cut and dry method of implementation when you are dealing with lakhs of people. You take example of Sabrimala, in which in a short period of 30-40 days, some 40 to 50 lakh people come. If you think that only by showing the rules you can check the plastic pollution, it is not possible at all. So one of the things that I did there, that I will tell you, there are 3 trekking routes to Sabrimala, and the longest one is 45 kilometers. Naturally, people require water on the way. So we started having water ATMs, where our forest staff will be sitting with a burning fire and a very big cauldron to boil water, and another cauldron to cool water. And whosoever comes there, they will serve the water to those persons. Nobody need to carry own water bottles. So facilitating for implementing the law, that is one of the key things in reducing plastic in the forest area. I'll share my only 2 experience as a Chief Wildlife Warden, how we did it practically. Although as a Chief Wildlife Warden in the state, I was not having anything to do with forest nursery. But in the meantime, this COVID came. So during COVID, there was no inflow of tourists to the a protected area. And our number of watchers, you know that we have contractual watchers, and they are paid by the Tiger Foundations. So when the Tiger Foundation's income was diminished, we found it very difficult to pay for those watchers. So, but still we are sometimes we are implying for a limited days out of suppose 30 days, then we will imply for 20 days and try to support the livelihood of that person. So during that period, the idea came that why not to employ them in some more productive ventures. So to reduce plastic consumption in our forest nursery, I started that venture. You may be surprised that suppose in Kerala, if we are having 1 crore seedlings to be planted in a year, and even the smallest size, the smallest gauge, that is 150 gauge of nursery bag, if you are using that, it will be nearly 1500 kg of plastic. So a small state like Kerala, and having a very moderate target of 1 crore seedlings to be planted, it will result in 1500 kg of plastic dumped in the forest. So I started one unit at Pollachi. It is very near to Parambiculam, although it is in Tamil Nadu, but Kerala Forest Department is having 6 acres of land there. So we utilized that facility because there was a lot of coir mat available in that area. A lot of units were there. So availability of coir mat and availability of latex that comes from rubber. So these 2 organic materials, with the help of a hot press, we started producing 150 cc size of you can call it nursery bags made of coir and latex. So 1 unit, it is giving nearly 2,500 a number of nursery bags per day. So I was just estimating those days that if every division is having 1 unit, and then the entire nursery bag requirement of the state, it can be met only by this square mat and latex. And not only that, it will give a lot of employment also, and of course will be reducing the plastic consumption, as I told. So, before talking to this, I verified from the state whether it is being used or not. It is actually being used, although the unit that I established, one unit at Polachi, it remained as one unit only. Perhaps department has to take some more initiative. But whatever they are producing, it is being consumed by the forest department. But the point is that there is a proof of concept that we have established that it can be used in the nursery. It is up to the department to take it forward. So that is the one thing that I want to share. Other thing that I want to share, although Mr. Bittu Sehgal told that the best strategy is elimination, not reuse. But still, there was a legacy dump of plastic in Munnar Panchayat. You know that municipal areas and panchayats, they find it very easy to dump their waste either in the forest area. They will go in the night and dump anywhere, or even there is a dumping place designated which is very near to forest, where wildlife also comes. Elephant come and they also will forage upon those dumps and spoil their health. So there was such a dump was there in Munnar. So under one global environmental facility and the UNDP project, sponsored project, that is called India High Range Mountain Landscape Project. Let us call it only Munnar project for the sort of brevity. So it was implemented there in that landscape in 4 divisions, like Munnar, Mariyur, Manakulam and Varachal. So along with sustainable livelihood and mainstreaming of biodiversity conservation in development activities, waste management also came as a natural corollary of this project. So near that dump, we established a material recovery facility for plastic waste, and it started this operation in December 2021. So what we did that we had a door-to-door collection of non-bio waste things from by implying something called Harit Karma Sena. 146 ladies we employed in that area, and they were going door to door and collect the waste. Along with this collection, already a legacy waste dump was there. So we started working on that. Now that legacy dump has been already, it has been finished, and there is no waste there. So in this material recovery facility, there was a conveyor belt over there. They will spread the entire that sack of waste on that thing, and they will pick up the things which is not plastic, and only plastic will be segregated. And those plastics will be compressed and built into transportable sizes and taken out of the forest. So and this is still happening. It is going on. It is not that it is stopped after my leaving the place. So I think there are other places also. There must be a number of such examples of success stories. And the only thing is that there is a need to have a CPU, that is central processing unit, which can collate all these things and motivate the people who are implementing these things in the field. So this is what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Surinder, for sharing your experience. Now I will request Mr. Jairas, who happens to be from Andaman Nicobar Island. He was PCC up there and now chairman of the Environment Committee. So please share your experience.
Thank you, Vidya, and good afternoon to all the panelists present here. I just want to present 2 contrasting scenarios of plastic management. One is in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, where I'm presently posted here, in Coimbatore, which is close to Nilgiris, and then the place where I was posted. lost in Andaman Nicobar Islands. Coming on Ooty, this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve includes national parks like Bandipur, the Eraviculam National Park, and also the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, and also the municipal area. And the way they control is that the three main approach roads to Ooty, and in these roads, they have established 9 checkposts. And 19 different different kinds of plastic items are banned for use in this Ooty. And it's all checked at these checkposts and then collected from the public who are entering into Ooty. And alternates are also provided. Instead of plastic bottles, they give this steel and copper bottles, and other alternative bags are also given to the public, actually sold to them. This is how they have been enforcing it. As Mr. B.K. Sharma said and Mr. Surendra Kumar cited, it is the strict enforcement which is required. We have a large number of rules, but the district administration was very good in enforcing these rules. So practically, you don't find even a small plastic within the Ooty city or in any of the national parks nearby. That's the kind of thing which is a good example of strict enforcement of these rules. The other thing is in Andamans. In Andamans, actually, these 9 different categories of plastics are banned for use since 2019. And one good thing is that they have also issued a notification to use this certain categories of plastic in the road making, in the making of plastic roads. So till date, nearly 162 kilometers of roads in Andamans have been made with plastics by mixing certain plastics with bitumen at the time of the boiling the bitumen, and it's mixed with this bajris and then made into road. So nearly 148 tons since 2019 has been used in this process. But Andaman has a peculiar problem. In the Andaman Forest Department also restricts the entry of plastics into national parks. We have 2 marine national parks. At the entry point, the plastics are collected and jute bags are given, and metal bottles are also given, which are again taken back on say collecting a deposit, which is being practiced in many national parks. The same thing is being done there also. But Andaman has a very peculiar problem because it's not only from the tourism, because tourist pressure is also very high. In 2019, we had 5 lakh tourists, which is more than the population of Andaman Nicobar Islands. Now it has come down because of the COVID, and again it's picking up because of problems in Maldives. The tourism is picking up in Andaman. But that is the kind of tourist pressure which is adding to the plastic menace in Andamans. 2 other things which are not strictly under the control of department is that one is from the fishing activities, fishing and shipping activities. A lot of ghost nets. They come and then the turtles get caught, or it damages the coral reefs. The next one is the marine debris from various countries. It is coming from Thailand, it's coming from Sri Lanka, it's coming from the Indonesia, and all the Southeast Asian countries. Debris are coming because of the ocean currents, which we cannot avoid. And that is also getting dissolved into, say, minor particles like nanoparticle size. And the first time in India, we have recorded the presence of plastic glomerates. It's called a plastic rock. The sand, rock, and plastics join together and become another rocky substance, which is called as plastic glomerate. This has been found in some of the islands of Andaman. In Andaman, you can say practically everything is protected because we have 95 sanctuaries and 6 national parks, including 2 marine national parks. And if you include the reserve forest and the tribal reserves, practically most of the area is protected. And all these are being small islands, they are affected by this plastic pollution, which is mainly coming from the marine deposits, especially from the foreign countries, because it's in the shipping route passes south of Andaman Nicobar Islands, which is something which we are not able to control right now. And then the nylon which comes from fishing debris, that is again causing problem in the coral reefs. And this what is called as plastic tea. The plastic dissolves and forms a substance which is called as plastic tea, which is again killing the corals. Which is because we are dependent on the national parks are dependent on the coral reefs, very rich coral reefs, and the fisheries are dependent on the coral reefs. Both are getting affected adversely because of this. This is something which is beyond the control of the government because it's coming from the international waters. That is something which needs attention. Otherwise, practically what is generated with the tourism is reduced to some extent by, say, the waste collection centers, which are located in the Port Blair municipal area and also the Gram Panchayats. There are nearly 26 such centers in the Port Blair municipal area and 70 in the Panchayats. They have baling machines and shredding machines. Whatever is collected is shredded and baled, and then it's transported out of islands. And that is totally free of cost. There is no freight charge for what is sent out of Andamans. So that way we are able to control to some extent. that needs to be expanded on a large scale. This is what I just want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jairaj, for giving so much of in-depth and insight in such a short time. Now, the last speaker happens to be Mr. Qayyum. He is the youngest officer, serving officer in this panel. He is DFO Middle Andaman from Andaman Nicobar. Yes, Mr. Qayyum, please share your experience.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are able to.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me to this August gathering. And I'm so happy to see a lot of senior stalwarts of the department and the service. Especially, sir, I happen to meet few of them. And sir, I think Jairaj sir has already given a lot of insight from the Andaman. But sir, I would like to give some information related to the activities which we are doing on the ground. So if you allow, sir, I would like to share one small PPT, sir. I can assure you I will stick to the time. So it will take not more than 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, sir, Jairaj sir just talked about the notification which was done by the Andaman administration in year 2019. So these are the bottles which are actually banned. So, I mean, I'm sure the Bisleri person who was just mentioning about his activities can take some pride in this, that they are able to control some kind of the influx in form of plastic pollution. So what Andaman uniquely has done is the bottle size of less than 2 liters are banned. So that basically leads to a lot of reduction in the waste generation. Apart from that, these are the 9 categories which sir just mentioned. These are also banned. So we have moved from having larger consumption of 1 liter or 200 ml bottle to 2 liter bottles. So that has led to largely the reduction in the first generation, initial generation of the waste. Apart from that, sir, we have also initiated as part of the ecotourism practice where the plastic-based straws are completely banned. Instead of that, we are providing an alternate, which is in form of the some species of the bamboo. So that is used, and recently it was patented by Botanical Survey of India also. So there is some modification going on. An important part is that the plastic straw which we have, we can't reuse. But here the kind of straw which we have in form of the bamboo, that can be reused after having a basic cleaning etc. Apart from that, these are frequently you can see. So people whoever are visiting the ecotourism site, invariably they are offered coconut water by using these straw only. So this is one unique initiative, and the cost is also very less. We are trying to formalize it by involving certain local people also in some ecotourism site located in Betapur etc. So these are the locations. In forest nursery also, this is probably a bigger challenge, because every year the department has to raise more than 3 lakh plant sapling in different nurseries. So polybags are bigger challenge to us since we don't have any robust alternative. Therefore, we have explored certain opportunity or the alternate in form of coconut shells and the bamboo clumps. So this you can see. This photograph I have taken from our own nursery. So this was recently developed to the size of 500 bamboos. The challenge is we are not able to meet the huge demand in the department. So at this point of time, we don't have any alternate but to use plastic polybags to some extent. But I'm happy to share that there are many nurseries which have taken certain initiative, and we are able to reduce it to some extent. So apart from that, this is also very interesting thing, sir. There is a species called Silai Patti. So they are very often used as alternate to a construction material also. So the ecotourism sites are the huts which we are developing in different areas. In fact, recently we have developed few sites in the Jarawa Tribe Reserve also. There we have ensured that there should not be any movement or transportation of any kind of plastic inside those reserve protected areas. So we have come up with the use of thatching grass or Silai Patti, where these are the alternate to the typical construction material. And apart from that, we are having a regular beach cleaning program. It is done on the weekly basis. Apart from that, we are having a mass cleaning program by involving certain class of society on certain special days such as wildlife weeks or other days. So these are the people who are working in the field. This picture I have clicked during one of our Havelock visits, sir. This is kind of practice we follow. So what is done, the kind of all plastic waste or the different kind of domestic waste also, whatever it generates, it is dumped through a coordinated place. It is taken by a boat, it is dumped to a designated place so that so that it can be contained in a particular locality, and it can probably form some kind of landfill. So it is like that. Apart from that, this year's Department of Forest has taken one initiative by declaring 5 tourism sites as part of Blue Flag certification program. Out of 5, 2 are located in my division. One is in Lalaji Bay Beach program, and another is at Raman Bagicha. Sir, in the important part here is that it has got a very significant component of a control on plastic waste generation. So that was the idea that I thought why not to share with the audience. Apart from that, sir, I would like to just quote these 2 cases. Recently, we have rescued these 2 animals, and we are hoping that there might be some kind of plastic, maybe some plastic, they are strangled by the plastic or some issue. So incidentally, nothing was found in that. So this is striped dolphin that this was rescued just last week, and it was not having any issue as such. But I feel what the Jara sir just highlighted, that there are related to marine life, there are certainly the issues which are a lot of plastic presence is there, and probably this is an issue which needs larger attention. So this much, sir, I wanted to share in this platform. Thank you so much once again for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Qayyum, for such an insightful and pictorial representation of your work and the action you are going to take in the very sensitive zone, that is the marine marine area of such an importance from the wildlife point of view. So with these, now we have concluded the first round, but we have concluded our time slot also. But I'm very delighted to see that so much of interest has been generated by the first discussion, that I will request the panelists and audience to share their suggestion and valuable experience, whatever they want to share. On the given one email ID has been created, that is earthdaynetworkindia2024@gmail.com. That has been also shared in the chat. So whatever they suggestions are there, so please suggest, because due to paucity of time, we are not going into the discussion format. And after getting the suggestion, then we will formulate some action plan. And I will also request to send your commitment, whatever you want to commit for the future action. If you want to involve in this exercise, so please share your commitment, whether you are able to commit some time or energy or capital, whatever form, so that we can formulate our action plan after that. Because I don't want to confine to the discussion room only. With these words, because there is a time constraint and a lot of other commitments are there to other members, so I conclude here. And with this note that we must stand with this commitment that it is not my garbage, but it is my planet. Only one planet is there. So even if we are not generating the garbage myself, but we should take care of other garbage also. With that motive, we must march on this long journey where we have to contain the plastic spilling over to the forest area. Thank you very much. And I will request the Earth Day organizer to say a few words so that we conclude formally. Karunaji.
So, thank you so very much, Mr. Kumar. It's an amazing galaxy of people that you have brought in, and goes to show your great professionalism and the remarkable work you have done that has got you to interact with all these people. So thank you to all the panelists. I, for one, was so enamored by all the different things you are doing. I mean, there was no repetition here of, I'm doing this and I'm also doing this. It was different points of the arguments for how we can look after wildlife sanctuaries and all and make them plastic free. So as Mr. Kumar said, I'm with Earth Day Network, and the global theme for Earth Day this year is Planet versus Plastics. And thank you for contributing to that. And we look forward to working with you further to ensure that no wildlife area, no forest area has any plastic in it, because they say that save Earth, but Earth will remain, whether as a molten planet or anything. It is really to save all living beings on it, humans included. So thank you very much, and we look forward to getting your thoughts on solutions. And thank you, Mr. Kumar, for agreeing to do another follow-up webinar where we can discuss solutions in depth.
So I will request that please share your email ID to all panelists and audience, those who have registered.
Official one is
Earthday Network India 2024@gmail.com. So please share to all the panelists also in writing form so that they can be connected with us. Because now the action has started. It was only generating the interest and making a group, a core group. So now the real action will start from here. Thank you all the panelists, and have a good day and have a good Earth Day.
Thank you very much. Much obliged. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, boss. Everybody, Jasbir, Kayum, Jairaj, Nitin, in spite of your daughter's marriage yesterday, you have joined. We could not have Jyotsna because she was traveling, so she could not join. So we will, I promised her that we will have another round very shortly, so we can have much more focused discussion on the solution part.